What is up, Whale family, and welcome to Blockchain Beats, where we explore pioneering artists and platforms taking audio and music to the next level of emerging tech with interactivity and NFTs. Our guests today are some of the teams trailblazing from AsyncArt, as well as talented artists and collaborators who are coming together to launch the next evolution of generative art with music blueprints. Thank you for joining, everyone. We're so excited to have you with us here today.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Yes, we've been talking about this on the Discord, and you know, people are pretty hyped between the people involved and between all the amazing things that Async does. Before we get into it, because I'm overly excited and we'll probably skip over things, I'd love to just take a moment to go through the room and just give a brief introduction for everyone.
Yeah, you want to start at the top? Is it the same for all of us? I feel like Anastasis is at the top there.
Yep.
Perfect.
I'll go first. Hello, everybody. Very excited to be here. So I'm representing Async from the product side. So I'm Async's music producer. So I've worked with some of these wonderful people here. I'm very excited about this project, and I'm super excited about the product we'll be discussing today as well. So feel free, like any product directed questions you have, they're for me.
Thank you so much.
I'm Terra Naomi, and I think I've been coming around here for over a year at this point, and actually I think my first audiovisual NFT is in the Whale Vault, and I came back when I did Say It's Possible on Async, and now I'm here representing a project that I'm doing with 6 other artists, and it's called Homework, and real excited to talk to everybody about it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Multi. I'm a part of the Async team. I'm the community manager. So I'm here to chat to you all about really the experience from a community side, from a product side with Anastasis here. Chat with you all about what we're unfolding over the next little bit here at Async and the tools that you'll all one day be able to have the chance to get to play around with. And obviously just super excited to have the Homework team, a couple of members, and David Bianchi, and get to be surrounded by lovely people to chat with. So honored to be here. Thanks, Nightmare.
Yeah, thanks, Nightmare. Thanks for having us, and shout out to Async team. It's been an absolute pleasure. My name is David Bianchi. I'm one of the featured artists that's part of the rollout of Async Music Blueprints, the new technology that they're rolling out into the ecosystem. Very, very exciting. My project is called Census. I'm the creator of the project, and it is a healing audio-visual spoken word journey through the human senses, and that's the short of it. Happy to be here.
Hey y'all, Weinbagz here. I am a musician producer, and I am sort of the other project lead on Homework. So yeah, I mean Terra already covered that, so also happy to be here, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. David, I have to be careful how many times I let you onto the show, because your silky smooth voice, everyone wants someone else to talk instead of me. So this may be your last time, man. I gotta put a ban on that. For people in the audience that may not be familiar with Async, can the team just talk a little bit about the technology and vision for the project as a whole on a macro level?
For sure. So to start off, I'd like to just say that Async always has the goal of creating new tools and new ways for artists to be able to connect with their creations. And I think for a long time within the NFT space, and with a long time within Async, we've been dabbling with a lot of unique ways in which artists can develop projects, express their images through either generative, through layers, through very unique tool set that other platforms either don't provide, or you have to internally build teams around. get programmers, get developers to help artists be able to achieve visions. Well, we've, as a platform, have always kind of led the way in trying to facilitate the right tools to be able to streamline that actual creative experience and development of different possible ways of producing art for quite a while here. And we've dabbled in music. We have Async Music, but what we're unveiling now with Async Music Blueprints is really that next step of the generative music experience. And I think if you're at all a little bit accustomed to what we've done with our blueprints itself with projects such as Xcopies, Grifters, or Coldie's DIs, we are trying to dabble and build a platform that can do the exact same thing for the audio community within the NFT space, creating really interesting generative one-for-one music experiences that not only allow artists to be able to come out and create some pretty wonderful creative pieces, but also gives a very unique experience for the collectors, each receiving these very personal pieces from these artists that they do collect. So it's going to be a very new foray for music's kind of future in NFTs, but I think that it's a very exciting one for being able to see what the potential of audio and music within the NFT and crypto space, where it could go. And I think it's an important step. I'd love to have Anastasis chat a little bit more about it, in fact.
Yeah. I mean, to add to that, I think part of our DNA is an artist DNA. So a lot of us who work at Async actually do art on the side as well. So what I think one of the main missions for this product, as well as for everything we do, is really accessibility, is, to make tools that all people can use, that require no code, and that have a very intuitive UI UX, and even so they sort of open up completely new ways of doing art, new ways of like driving the community to work together, to interact within the space of art. So yeah, I think the music blueprints tool is our first, actually our first generative comprehensive sort of tool that allows creators to use a tool set for creating such innovative sort of ways of producing unique songs. So that's a big thing. So on the one side is our creator DNA, and on the other side is our desire to sort of push the whole music industry forward into finding new ways for creating completely new musical experiences and like personalized musical experiences. So I mean, we will discuss more about this as from the context of the different projects, but the whole thing with this is really the fact that you can really uncover unique, personalized songs for the fans, and I think that's a great thing, and that can also be a portal to a whole world of like personalized experiences. And yeah, I think there's a lot to add on this format in the future.
Yes, indeed. And I'm super excited about it. But just to level set everyone, because I know we have a lot of people that are new to the space entirely. Async has always been at the forefront of really pushing the limits and pushing what you can do accessibly with the technology of NFTs, right? So everybody was looking at art. I'm showing you a piece right here that if you look at the composition of it, is a number of absolute OGs in this space, right? Like Xcopy, Coldie, we even have Connie Digital on here with his tapes, etc. Right? This was put together to show the nuance of what you can do. People can own individual layers and pieces of this, and they were able to, by owning that layer, change what the composition is at a time. I mean, it was always referenced, especially when I came into the space shortly after it was launched. Hey, look at the possibilities that are amazing. Let this blow your mind. People can have pieces, and with that piece, you can control the macro composition. There was so many possibilities that came to mind, right? And at one point, people were talking, I remember this, wow, imagine if that was applicable to music. Imagine if you could do that with music, right? And so you guys went down the path of evolution of allowing that for music, and then launched blueprints, et cetera, which I want to get to in a moment. But just to level set everyone, this is what Async does. They take something that's really complex tech, And sometimes there's a barrier to entry for artists or even collectors to be able to participate. And they say, no, let's make this easy. Let's make it ubiquitous. Let's make it so people can participate and really see the power of this technology and what it can do, and also make something super cool. For me, NFTs is a very experiential process. When I collect or when I, create, so to speak, which I've been at the mint button, but not done it several times. But the point is, it's very experiential. And this, nuance lets you really even take that a step further, and being able to get something that was generated based on the time you chose or the pieces that you selected, etc. So it really opens up possibilities, dynamic NFTs, layers to it, interactive experiences, and really leveraging the technology and the smart contracts. So that's what I love about you guys. And you do it in a way that's accessible. I think that's the most important thing. You do for the technology what Nifty Gateway did for, opening and making the NFT realm palatable for people that didn't. I know people that collected art. They knew nothing about NFTs. They just thought, hey, this is cool. I can go on this website and, and easily, take part. So you do that same type of thing. And with that efficacy, comes adoption. And I could be wrong, but I think that's part of you guys' ethos, right? To make things accessible and remove those barriers to entry for the collectors and the creators.
100%. I think that especially at this time in crypto's existence and crypto art, the best thing that we can do is create an entry point that is so seamless for anyone with an idea, with anyone with audio on their mind, with anyone with images on their mind, to be able to create something very streamlined. All it will do is contribute to the platform, in the sense that we will be giving out art all the time, creating new voices, creating new styles, creating new pieces that otherwise really didn't have, I don't want to say, light of day to be able to make it, but there were obvious either tools that had to be learned or team members that had to be hired, new paths that had to be opened within the artist's mind that can be quite difficult to be able to adopt from an individual or even creative team standpoint. All we try to do at Async is really boil down what are the tools that artists need to not just create an image, but create a file. What's the potential of the file? What can they do? And how can we really express that and create a platform that really waters it down to the most effective, streamlined way to get whatever's in their head or in their ears right out onto a platform. And by creating more art, by creating more songs and images, I think that the more we get to see and the more we get to listen to, the more we'll discover and the more we'll grow this space together. So all our platform is trying to do is allow the community that's interested a chance at being able to create something, whether it be in visual or in audio. We want to create that seamless pathway. And then on top of it, I think you touched on the sense that, I think a lot of NFTs right now, they're really dope JPEGs, but what they can do is they are a file. What can a file do? What's the possibility of the programmed art? And that's the other part of Async here. We want to be able to explore that and again, boil it down to the most streamlined, easy way for an artist to conceptualize what we mean by programmable and generative art, and then really just embrace it from an individual perspective and have all the tools at their kind of hand to be able to create an image or an audio platform.
Yeah, I could go on just the nuance of the music platform itself, because that's super cool how you can, timestamp and mint your own recording. You guys came out with Blueprints, at the tail end of last year. Talk to me about Blueprints, why you guys launched that, and why generative art is so fascinating.
Anastasis, feel free to jump in here and cover that. But I definitely say that, there's a lot of art within the larger vision of one project. When you create such large addition numbers with the programmable layers and the different traits, that's more than a product. It is art. There is art within that. And what can we do for artists to make that more beautiful, more emotional, more impactful? And I think that that's something that we wanted to do here with Blueprints. But I'll pass this over to Anastasis to chat a little bit more from specific.
Yeah. I think we're discussing accessibility, and Blueprints is really all about accessibility. So, I mean, with Blueprints, what you can do is, so one thing is accessibility on the creator side. So you have all this format that we've built and this intuitive UI for people to very easily play with a tool that has a lot of capabilities for very diverse projects. But then also, by having this collection approach into making NFT art and crypto art, you can have really art that's much more accessible for collectors as well. So it can be, you can have more numbers of these unique items at a much more accessible price point. And I think that's important because that way you can drive people to join a community and really facilitate this whole world building around a certain project that can then really turn into an expansive experience. So I think the core point here is accessibility for both the creator and the fans.
Yeah, and I've certainly been schooled as I've studied a bit more on generative art with some of the people that we've talked to, and it's even gotten more traction recently, I think, with some other platforms, out there trying to, really spread the beauty in the code sometimes of how they can, lay it out and so that it works so seamlessly with the results without having to really curate it sometimes. I think it's really fascinating. I even went down the rabbit hole of looking at you guys' your randomization tech and exactly how it works, and that in itself is worth another discussion. But for people that aren't familiar, with the blueprints, similar to like if there was a PFP collection or something, you get a PFP on reveal, you see what the traits are that you were supposedly randomized and given, right? And you don't know what that is until the reveal. This process lets a creator put a bunch of variables in there, and I think there's something like 30 different types and 80 different layers, states, and there's a lot of possibilities. So the creator kind of sets out the parameters, and when you mint, that's going to be unique to you. You're the only one that's going to have that. But one of the coolest things, because I have a few, one of the coolest things about this is your platform actually lets people watch the process as it generates. Like so I'll never forget when I scooped my coldie and I was super hyped that I got a blue nose or something, or blue ear, but I saw it happen in progression, right? So it's certainly a very cool experience. I think Christy class is live right now, right? So I'll just play a reveal while we're talking. But yeah, to be able to see the code, the algorithms work and generate, the variables, and then see how it actually manifests on the screen, I think is super dope. And again, making it accessible to the end user, making it transparent, but also giving a new layer of, man, this is cool. I've shared my NFTs with people several times because I wanted to show the reveal, right? That was in a new experiential part for people to take part in. And I can only imagine the process, when you start incorporating music as well.
And to add to that, you can use that whole process, you can use to do creative stuff on that as well. So you can make that be part of the art. So we had an amazing blueprint the other day that got sold out. It was from an artist called Dune, if I pronounce it correctly, I'm not sure. And they hid a lot of the part of the art. So you had all these layers of hidden art, and at the end you got this thing that on its own it's like the one JPEG, but underneath it there's like another 10 artworks, and this is the whole story. And I found that to be very exciting. And that was just an artist who used the tool and found a new way to do something creative.
To me, that's part of the like that's one of the best things about any of this. Like, generative art is fun. It's really different. It's a different way of experiencing art and creating art. And also, like, what excites me about everything that Async is doing and has been doing all along is, like, when I look at what, like, whenever I do anything artistic or creative, I ask myself, like, why am I doing this? What's the point? Does this need to happen? Does this, like, why am I putting this out there? And with Async, the kind of art that we can make, I like NFT art that has the technology baked into it that couldn't exist without it. It's like, that to me is the why. Why make? because I can make a song and I can upload it anywhere. I can make a piece of art and I can share it on Instagram, or I could sell it. You know, it's like, why blockchain? Why NFTs? And Async is a platform that answers that for me. It's like, it's the technology, the fact that it is, you know, blockchain enabled, and the fact that it is living on the blockchain and in the way that it does, and that it comes together generatively in the way that it does. All of that is part of the art, and it all answers my question of why do we need this to be an NFT in the first place? Why do we need to do this the way we're doing it in the first place? And so that really excites me. And then just the fun of it, the fun of generative projects. Like when I first, you know, coming into the NFT space at the end of 2020 or mid 2020, and then like I'm totally losing my train of thought. I need more coffee. But yeah, it's like at first I was sort of resistant when I started seeing a lot of the big like 10K generative projects come out. I was kind of like, oh, well, I'm here to make art and I'm here to make music, and I don't want to, you know, I'm not into these massive projects that have like 10,000 pieces and like, what is this? And then I started getting into it, and I got completely addicted to it because it's fun. It's like the randomness and not knowing what you're gonna get, and like, it's like a little too addictive in some cases. But like being able to do this with music and being able to do it with art, and then also being able to do it and not needing to hire a team of devs and blockchain, you know, and coders and website, you know, engineers and designers and all the things that you would need to do, and you know, just being able to have the idea, have the concept, have the creative vision, and then go to Async, and there's not even a gas fee to upload it. It's like you just upload the project, and if you have the vision, you can do it. And that to me is just, I don't know, it's just like a winning combination that like makes all of it make sense to me, keeps it super fun. Yeah, anyway, that's what I wanted to say.
I think there's something really interesting that you said, Nightmare, and you said experiential, and to me, I think that's incredibly important when we look at what the async technology does for the collector. Right there, I think we all agree that there are various types of collectors in the NFT ecosystem, and there is a certain kind of collector that is going to async, right? Because you know, you step into a restaurant because you know what you're looking for. I think that also applies to the types of collectors that are going to async, and the experiential component of that, like now we can create, as like with our collection, which is a audio visual immersive piece of crypto art that, you know, has hidden layers. For example, I love that experiential component of the hidden layer. You know, my project being driven by spoken word poetry, one of the things that was very important to me and also for the audience is when you look at poetry and you see it, how it's written, how the writer intended that. If you scrub all the way down, you can see the poetry, and these are prototypes. These are actual prototypes. You can click and you can watch those. And so when you see the poetry on the page, we want the audience to understand what the intentions were. So one of the hidden layers is actually the poetry that you will own, and that has an audio component to it as well.
Yeah, no, I'd love to listen to it, but you know, I'm sure the silky smooth vocals we're getting right now will take precedent. We'll take a listen after.
Sure. Well, this piece that you're seeing here is actually part of the Legacy collection. So, 5% of the supply of the 1,000 NFTs will be video, pre-created video assets that have the solfeggio frequency music beneath it, which is a series of hertz frequencies that are proven to heal the mind, body, and spirit. Which also has a poetry layer as well, which is my performance of my spoken word poetry, which is a collection of 100 poems that I wrote that are introspective and philosophical, that focus on the 5 human senses. And the owner of every one of these NFTs will own the commercial exploitation rights of the written poetry. So if you have 10 of these, you'll be able to publish, 10 or resell 10 David Bianchi poems, as it were. And that poetry is in the hidden layers of the NFTs that you'll collect.
That's super dope. And one quick question for the team, and then I want to get back to you, David. Is the audio part of the generative process as well, or is it just there's one layer of audio and that one layer is randomized and assigned to one piece of the collection? How exactly is the audio incorporated in the generation process?
It's fully generated for audio as well. So again, you would break down a song or a composition into different layers. Say, for example, you have a dance anthem, whatever. And it has a kick drum, bass, synths, and all of those are different layers. And then you can have different states under each layer. So for the kick drum, you can have 5 different types of kick drum, maybe with different rhythms. So you can do a lot of stuff. And then, so it's basically the same as with image. So when a person mints, they would get a random mix of those layers. And of course, there's a lot to add to that as well. So it's not that you have rarities, you have instant preview so that you can check all the different combinations, how they sound. We also have our own sort of mastering algorithm that goes together. So at the end, when you mint, you get something that's really it's really well produced audio wise. So this is what we have at the moment, and obviously we plan to even expand the audio capabilities and like the audio programming capabilities in the future, but I won't go into that for now. But yeah, it's audio is generative as well. And a nice way to think about it, and Maelstrom, who couldn't be with us today, but who's also launching with us in early June, he said basically, I'm paraphrasing now, I don't remember the exact words, but it's like giving the mic back to the people. So you create a song and you use all of the, often producers, they produce like 3 bass lines. You use all of those, you don't discard them. And then you give back some of that creative potential to the people who mint and get their own unique version. And as a matter of fact, people, and in some projects that depends on what the artist chooses, but especially if you're a holder, for example, of a blueprint, you will be able to have ownership of the specific layers as well. So then that opens a new world of remixing, and so it opens up creativity not only to the initial creator, but also to the collectors and the fans and everyone who partakes in the process.
Yeah, I believe it was Maelstrom or Halik mentioned as well, which is a really cool thing to think of as a collector. But this is also, generative music, especially with EDM, with club music, with dance music, the generative aspect is actually quite native to their skill set. Every single time they come in and they do a show, they have their own, samples of music that every single night they play a little bit differently. So if you show up night after night, you're somewhat getting a more intimate and unique show every single time you do show up. So what is that like in the future of collectible audio? And I think that this generative platform creates that same experience where artists are able to create with their incredible talents. I mean, I've listened to the Homework team talk about how they built this with all of their different styles, all the different visuals. This is exactly why I'm not an artist, because I'm not a genius, but you get a couple of geniuses together in the same room with a tool set like this. And, you get to see how there's an insane skill to the programmability of this. But I think musicians, it comes natural because, it's a part of the language they speak, and they know this language so well that they're able to intertwine it very intimately, and it transitions into the generative creation in such a seamless manner that I just feel as though Blueprints is the most natural way for musicians to start to express their future pieces directly to the community. And I think every single time someone picks up a guitar, every single time someone starts, singing in the shower or doing whatever, they're improvising, they're making it unique, they're trying their best to just build something new. And I think that this blueprint, Music Blueprints, provides the most digital manner of doing so. And I think it's fascinating for the potential of where, and then you also have individuals like David Bianchi here, or who are able to do it with the spoken word and to be able to do it with poetry. And it's just, I have to say, it's quite an honor to be able to see the group of people we have to roll this out over the first week and a bit of unveiling. You'll all know exactly what we mean by, no matter how diverse the audio experience is, this is the most intimate music experience you've potentially ever had, because you will be the first person to ever hear that, and it will be yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not wrong when you say that artists certainly do this to some degree. Colin Benders, who's someone that does modular synths, was on our show and had a giant, I don't know, it looked like a console out of Doctor Who with a zillion wires. I don't even know how to encapsulate what it is, but you're absolutely correct. One thing I found interesting in projects like, you may be familiar with Hackatow, Queens and Kings, something that had a lot of generative properties and people could remix it and do all these super cool things. And there was a big swath of people that said, you know what? There's beauty in the algorithm, that this is what it spit out. That I have this amazing queen with a beard and whatever, missing one eyeball. That's beautiful because that's what the artist put in for inputs, and this is what it spit out. So I don't want to change it. I want to keep this pristine. So that's super cool. David, I'd love to ask you, and maybe how about I play one of your pieces first and then ask you the question. I'd love for people to hear, how this comes together.
Sure. Your hands on my skin make me feel whole. The gentle graze of your skin awakens my soul. The soft wet of your mouth arouses me wet. Touch me again. Help me never forget.
Man, I don't even, I'm almost at a loss for words after that, right? It was powerful in your delivery and how it came together with the music and the visuals. Super cool. And just before I forget, shout out to the Async team. I think it's super dope that not only did you make this toolkit, but you made it so they can make legendaries and rarities for people as well, right? Because I get excited knowing I might get the dynamic, super cool David Bianchi. David, I think this is amazing because when I heard about it, I didn't really think about the possibilities beyond just a music accompaniment to a JPEG, right? And so from a performance artist perspective, you're a brilliant actor, poet, MC sometimes, right? You do all of these things. This opens up a realm of possibilities that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. Talk to me a little bit about that and how this got you excited to learn about.
I appreciate that, and thank you for playing that back. And I had this vision that I wanted to write a collection of poems that were focused on the human senses, because I think that the world is complicated and Web3 is very complicated, and we don't have a lot of art that heals us. So I chose to write, 20 poems, each informed by by 5 human senses. And so I had this idea of how can I incorporate that into fine art and into the blockchain. And so having a variety of conversations, I had a conversation with Lisa and I pitched her the idea and she was like, okay, let's do this. It sounds incredible. And the product was rolling out. So this is basically the product of that. And, these legendary NFTs are obviously pre-built. But when we go into the programmable layers, what's really, really fascinating is that we have a poetry layer, and then we wrote Please and Thank You, who's an incredible EDM producer, produce 15 different musical tracks that fit within the solfeggio frequencies, which, as I said previously, are a series of Hertz frequencies that are healing to the mind, body, and spirit. And so I went into the studio, and when I was recording these poems, I wanted to allow the audience to sort of go on an introspective journey within themselves. All these poems tap into the human condition. And I think what you just heard took you somewhere. It took you to a very intimate place, but in a way that's comforting, and in a way that is forgiving, and in a way that's full of nutrition. So that's really where I wanted to come from with this collection. And when the randomizer is putting this all together, you don't know which of the 15 tracks you're going to get. You don't know which one of the 100 poems you're going to get. You just don't know. And you don't know which part of the artistic artifacts you're going to get. So these are all, in fact, one of one pieces. I wrote 2 haikus per human sense for additional scarcity. And, it's just really, really fascinating what we can do with this technology. And for me, the long-term roadmap is eventually what is going to be the in real life audio, visual, immersive experience, not just in real life, but also in the metaverse. I like the idea of audiences being able to come in and close their eyes and go into a sound bath experience with this collection. and being able to truly take themselves away from the chaos of the world and experience poetry and sound, audio, visual immersion in a way that I don't think the blockchain has ever created before. And it wouldn't be possible without Async. So I think what they've done is opened up the vessel for us as artists to be far more expansive with our creativity. And, every single one of these pieces is a one of one. And then final thought, when you look at the collection here, you'll notice the different color tones, and that's very intentional. So white is touch, because I believe that to be our heavenly sense. And then if you look at green, green is sound, because what do we love to hear so much is Mother Nature. And then if you see the pink and the purple, so that's our taste, because that's the color of our taste buds. The lower left is orange and red, which is the color of our nasal and olfactory cavity. And then blue is sight, because the most beautiful thing that we see is the sky. So when you look at the collection, you'll be able to identify which sense you're looking at based on the color palette if you've actually studied the collection. So everything within the collection is very, very intentional. It's very thoughtful. And it's just designed to really just evoke a sense of beauty and allow you to introspectively tap into yourself. And I'm just really excited to see how audiences respond to it. And if you scrub all the way down on that page, you'll see, you'll go all the way down, you'll see the formats of the poems. So when I put these together with my signature and whatnot, it numbers them out. And there's even some art in terms of how the text is layered, because that will take you into sort of my mind in terms of how I see it delivered and how the language is supposed to move you, and how all this stuff is very, very focused and very delicate. So any collectors will also own the commercial exploitation rights to these poems. And so it's not just about the art, it's also about giving away our hearts too. As artists, that's what we do. We put our hearts on our sleeves and we make it available for people to consume, which is why we lose so much sleep because our heart is for sale, And but I think that Async lets us come from a place of good centering. So I hope everybody really can go on a journey with this work. And if it weren't for, also, I must also say this, Dogan Demir, who is the artist, he took audio recordings of my voice, extrapolated it down to mathematics, and then all the code that was used for the fractal art is informed by the waveform data of my voice. So even the fractal art is completely informed by the interpretation of the cadence of my voice. So everything is very, I like to say, interconnected, just like the senses are.
Wow. And we love that here, especially when we talk about generative art. The ones that really pique our interest are the ones where the humanity is really an aspect that's incorporated into it, right? It kind of bridges two worlds. It's hard for me to wrap my head around all of it right now, but David Bianchi, you are an artist of many layers, which makes your works so intricate and so interesting. So it's a perfect marriage with Async, where really, almost in a literal sense, layers is appropriate there. I'd love to talk with Terra and Weinbagz about your project, just to show the kind of variation of types of things that can happen with this technology and this platform.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'll jump in. Weinbagz, feel free to jump in too. I hear empty space and I freak out. So I'm unmuted and here we are. And yeah, we have 7 artists total. Weinbagz and our friend Hilton Wright II and I created the music, and Pop Wonder, Soul Curry Art, who is Ashita Banerjee, Tanya Del Rio, and Zach Winterton created the visuals, and Weinbagz and I made some visuals as well. And so we've got kind of a big group of artists. We've got 10 different layers, audio-visual layers. Each there's like 8 to 14 or 15 or so different variations for each of those layers. And so like each audio layer has a corresponding visual layer, and it's meant to sort of look the way it sounds. That's really what we were intending. And so there's a total of 700 million possible combinations, more than 700 million possible combinations. And we're still figuring out exactly the collection size and all that right now.
Can I pause you for 1 second?
Yeah.
Did you just say 700 million?
I did.
That's not that's not just an exaggeration for effect. There's literally 700 million possibilities.
There's literally easily more than 700 million because you've got 10 layers each with like 10 plus.
Right, no, I don't need the
yeah.
math. I just need to understand. Now that's super cool.
It is cool too, because Async, when you're uploading it, they have like a total count of like how many different possibilities there can be. So it's fun to see that sort of, you know, change as you, as you're uploading.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you want to say more about it, Weinbagz?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is the most fun I have ever had creating. I mean, I think the funnest part was, and I think our friend Rad came up with the tagline, "This is what music looks like," which I thought was perfect. And when we started doing it, we approached the music first before the visuals, and it was really fun to be like, okay, first we have to make this all fit together, but we also have to like think of things that can be represented visually too, which was the funnest part to me. And so, you know, there's, you know, we have our friend playing guitar, you know, there's a guitar player on the screen. There's, you know, the cat in the corner, you'll hear a little meow. So just being able to link visual and audio layers together is just, yeah, it's like a dream come true to me. I mean, this is something that I never would have dreamed of a year ago. But yeah, I don't know if there's more to say about it. I'm sure there is, but
yeah. Well, let me level set a little bit because I'd love to play it so people can hear it with the audio. But before I do, homework obviously spelled in a retro way here, taking me back to my embarrassing AOL names, which I will not repeat here. But that being said, it was intentional. It was with purpose. Talk to me thematically. What was your goal, objective, and you know, and how you pulled together the team that you did? Because it sounds like a batch of all-stars.
It was really it was one of these things that was kind of a lot of just sort of like magical little unintentional things that you're like, let's do this, and just sort of following a whim or following an instinct, and then being like, oh my God, like we couldn't have made that happen. Like essentially, after I released Say It's Possible on Async in July of 2021, Weinbagz and I were talking about different projects that we wanted to do. You know, what was I going to do next? What did he want to do? And we were like, well, we both want to make a generative project around music. Like, why don't we team up? And we started talking about it. We're like, well, who would we want to be the artists on it? And we just named our first 4 visual artist friends, but that we felt like had really different styles, but would also work well together. And to be honest, like, I mean, at least from my perspective, I sort of had this vague idea of what it might look like and how it could come together, but it came together like way cooler than I even imagined it would. And it was sort of like, well, we love these 4 artists. These are our friends, and we think they're amazing, whatever. But like, how will their styles actually look together? And what you're looking at there is art from the 4 different artists, all blending in together, and they have such different styles, and somehow it all came together beautifully. And then the same thing with the music. At first it was just me and Weinbagz, and then I was sort of in the midst of also helping to launch the Warps by Warp Sound project, and I was feeling really overwhelmed, and it was sort of like, I need someone to help me with my part of the music. But what I didn't realize, like at first it was just kind of like, I need help, and then it was like, wait a minute, this is another opportunity to bring in a friend, a good friend of mine in real life, who we write with. He's a multi-platinum songwriter and producer, and he's incredible, and we've written together for years and been friends for years, and so it was like an opportunity for me to do what I say I've wanted to do, which is to like introduce other artists into NFTs and introduce this other possibility to artist friends of mine who are amazing, who haven't experienced it yet as a creator. And so I called up my friend Hilton, and I was like, what do you I know this is going to sound crazy. I was like, okay, hear me out. This is going to sound completely like bonkers. It's not going to make any sense. And then suddenly it will make sense, and you'll get it. And it's going to, because trying to tell someone that we're going to make something with 10 layers and 10 different, 7 different artists, and it's all going to layer together and all be modular, and you have to record every part so that it can be mixed and matched into hundreds of millions of combinations. It was just like just trust me. And he started creating, and then it was like we ended up with this project with 3 really, because Weinbagz and I have completely different styles. Weinbagz, Hilton, and I have completely different styles, like even more. So one really amazing thing about what Async has made possible is that they have different pathways. So not only can you make one version of this modular project that all fits together, you can actually have different pathways. So like, I don't know, it's almost too much to explain, but essentially we were able to come together as a group of 7 different artists with completely different styles, largely because Async's toolkit made it possible for us to like organize all those styles into batches where like some worked with everything, some only worked with some, and we could make it all random. So like, yeah, it's just,
I mean, that was one of the comments in the Discord from people watching this, some creatives that are tuning in saying, wow, this makes it seem incredibly easy. I have unique art. I have stuff that I couldn't figure out where it fits. They're amazed by how you are able to help the artist create, right? And really put their emphasis on creating, not worrying about smart contracts, etc., and whatnot. I'd love to play this and hear it with the visual. Should I play this example or some of the stuff you had shot over to me, Tara?
I think play that. That's a mashup, and that's like several different potential random versions. All like you'll hear the music change when the visual changes, and so you'll hear the corresponding audio and visual.
Here we go.
Round 1. Ready. Fight.
Wow, that was dope. Because several times during that, I'm like, this is the one I would want. And I'm like, wait, no. I need the robot voice. No, I need to be beamed up. That was super cool. A great comment that I was just DM'd from someone privately said, this is cool because it makes generative art seem accessible. Some of the stuff seems like I don't understand it, like it's math equations. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what they had said, right? So this makes it, hey, forget the technical part in the background, enjoy the art that it generates, and that's super awesome. Although I'm sure you will have, because of the creator suite, you will have some that emphasize the math and the equations and the algorithms as well, right? I'll see piping or all kinds of really cool stuff. So that is definitely exciting.
The whole goal is to take complex ideas and streamline the process to be able to accomplish them.
Yeah, I think I have some other examples as well. Some prototypes from another artist that you had. I don't know if I should show this or not.
But yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. Sheesh, that is hype. I'm ready to jump kick out of my window. I was about to drop the freestyle of my life there. My goodness, that's generative? You guys got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
It is
that's
pretty insane what some people are able to come up with, and just the beauty and the excitement of if this is what we're getting at the beginning, if this is what early creators are doing, I'm just, it blows my mind to think of what it'll be like in the next year when people can really take the tools and flex with them beyond what we've even imagined. And I mean, you see what the homework crew's done with how varied the art styles can come together for a seamless artistic expression. You hear David Bianchi's powerful ability to be able to work this. I mean, these are just examples of the now, and they are already so diverse and so fulfilling in their own creative ways. So that it's just, I personally, from the team and Async, we're just excited to see what you as a mass art community can do with these tools.
Yeah, and a quick thought is that one of the things that's really cool about the Blueprints technology in and of itself is that, like, it's kind of a marriage of really fine crypto art and PFP technology, right? It's like it's almost like big collection fine art drops, and so it sort of marries both worlds, because let's not get it twisted. Like, NFTs are what they are as a result of fine art. Fine art made NFTs sexy. So let's just, lean into that and lean into what's working in the trends of the community, but also lean back into the emotional impact of fine art. And what's the utility of fine art? Well, it's just fine art. That's the utility. Like, the utility of great music is that you feel something, it impacts you. And it's really cool to see the marriage of volume technology intermixed with one-of-one generative fine art. It's really cool.
Completely. And I think another little addition here that I'd add on is, when that art and you mint it yourself, and this is something that, with profile pictures, when you mint a profile picture, it really does feel yours because it was created in that exact moment for you. Well, what's the potential of that same collector experience on a more fine or a different art, and not just a product of a profile picture or a community piece? But what would it be like if artists truly embraced that experience of creating a piece of art, audio or visual, but just for you upon mint? And I think that it's beautiful, to be honest, to add a sense of personal experience to the actual minting of art as well, not just seeing something you like and clicking and buying, but seeing something you believe in, clicking, and it becoming a part of really you, and you become a part of it in and of its creation.
Awesome.
and
I had
I
another
do,
question. Go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Maelstrom, who we played his song before. And I mean, it's a shame we only played one, because if you listen another one from the collection, it's just a testament to how experienced a musician he is with like this sort of logic. So what we said, that generative logic that comes back from like modular music and modular synthesizers and so on. So he's managed. I mean, if you hear another track, it's gonna be as tight as that one. It's gonna be really good tracks. And I had the opportunity, like, helping this, working with all of these artists, working with Maelstrom on his project, and listening to everything as it rendered for testing. I mean, it's a shame we don't have him here. He couldn't be here, but the diversity of the songs and the genres of dance music that he's managed to fit in using this tool is really amazing.
We actually have Easy in Crypto in the audience here. Easy is in a number of projects, but also manages a project called Cypher, which is, some generative beats, as well as having a lot of participation in his various forums of hip hop. And I can just imagine his head spinning and the possibilities that will be coming out of this here. So Easy, I hope you're on it, and I'm sure you are already. I have to think here, we're looking at the base level, and I think you guys touched on this. The possibilities are endless. There are roads that I can't even envision now. The artist, someone creative will come in and take this down, and you guys are really at the forefront of establishing kind of that pathway. So thank you so much for jumping into the fire and saying, hey, I'll be vulnerable and experiment. I really would like to, be part of that. And we really appreciate that from the NFT community.
Well, thank you so much. I think that, one of the things that we also embrace as a company and as a movement here is we're building this together. You're right. We don't know what any of this will become, but it won't become anything unless the tools are made. So all we try to do is create the tools, and the rest of it comes down to the community being able to do whatever they come up with. And it truly is fascinating to just see all the directions and just imagine this is so early. This is just the beginning.
If you guys have a few more minutes, I have some questions from the audience I would love to run by you guys. One of the ones that I was DM'd was, will there be a layered reveal like there are for the current blueprints?
Yep. Same reveal flow as for current blueprints, and you will actually have this extra functionality whereby on that page where you see the reveal, you can also, depending on the project, have an opportunity to download each different state, both audio and visual. And that, of course, is a decision for the artist to choose whether they make it open to the public, whether it's just a token gated thing for holders, or whether no one can download them. So it's part of the process.
Right, or you might get some Nightmare David Bianchi remixes going on or something crazy, right? You got to be careful of those guys. You never know what they're going to do.
You never know, bro.
Someone actually had a comment just in hearing your work and not even knowing that this was generative, said they absolutely loved it and wanted the links. So I just wanted to reiterate to everyone, you're going to get something super personalized, right? So David's work, and then in a generative process, the algorithm and his inputs really giving you something super personal and personalized.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very keen on people that are really moved by the work to be able to be a part of the allow list. So I want to be able to also extend that to members of the whale community, that if you're here and you're really moved by this, it's a great never done before collection, and definitely want the allow list to be available to people that are really moved and inspired by it.
I was going to ask you if that was an alpha leak when I was scrolling, but you're welcoming us to it. So if you go to davidbianchi.actor/senses, you can see that there's an allow list there. And I was going to ask the team about timing. This says pre-mint date June 9th. So are we looking at June 10th, June 11th for a public release on these?
Yeah, so the pre-mint, the allow list will be June 9th, and then public sale will be June 10th. But that's just for my collection. So I'm sure Async could speak on the staggered dates of the other collections.
Yeah,
Okay,
with
cool.
regards to the other ones, I'd just be keeping an eye out. We got these 4 incredible projects coming out here in early June. So just keep an eye out for that first week of June. Keep your eye on the Twitter of Async. Keep your eye on the actual, Discord. Jump on there. We know a couple of the dates here. We got Homework on the 7th. We got, I believe it is Maelstrom on the 2nd. We're going to come out with all the flushed out dates and get some promos up pretty soon here. But I definitely be starting to warm up and keep your eyes and ears attuned to the not only Homework and David Bianchi, following them, following Terra, following Async, but jumping on the Discord as well, because we're going to be pumping out a lot of information as this gets nearby. So definitely stuff you do not want to miss. I can promise you that.
We've also got allow list stuff that we're going to start rolling out. So if you can see that screen right there, Homework _ NFT, and Homework is spelled with 0 and 3. So if you want to, anyone who wants to have the kind of inside early access to when we start rolling out our allow list in the next week or so, just follow us on Twitter and we will keep you posted.
Incredible. And a special shout out to the Async team. I know that these launches sometimes can be challenging with the demand. People are super excited about blueprints, especially when you start, carting out blue chip OGs, and here you have award-winning actors and musicians and producers, right? There's a lot of demand, and you guys have always handled, even if there ends up being an issue on the artist side, super democratic ways. I remember everybody being so happy with the way you handled some of the prior releases. So shout out to you guys and your community management. They're always at the top and always on your A game. Another question from the community, I think this is from some of our creators that are watching, is with regards to the curatorial element. 2 questions. Number 1, if an artist is interested to get involved in Async, perhaps not with just music, but blueprints in general, is there just an open application process? How can they do that? And number 2, how did you find this amazing group of artists and creatives to launch with?
So for the first question, definitely anyone that's a creator, anyone that's an artist that wants to create on the platform, you can apply as an artist on the Async website. It takes a couple of days to be able to get approved. Once you get approved, you're able to apply with actual specific projects. There's a bit of a waiting line because every single project that gets applied to, it is curated in the sense that we do have human eyes actually look at it, just to make sure that it's a good project and it works well and it's all fine. So there's a little bit of a time to get things approved on that end, but very easily you can just apply. Within a few days, you're going to be approved as an artist. You can jump on the Discord. You can get a little extra kind of artist channels on the Discord for help. But we'll definitely be even before you're an artist. We're pretty helpful as long as you just come here, you have questions, jump on the Discord. The team's very friendly. So if you have any questions as you apply, or if you want to kind of explore if you should apply, I just suggest jumping on that Discord and starting to chat with us, and we'll help you through the whole experience. The second part of that question, do you mind just reminding me one more time?
They had asked, how'd you get this group of amazing artists and creatives to launch
So
with?
I think we definitely have a lot of luck going around the platform. We have the honor of having a bunch of these artists previously work with Async, and I think that as we were rolling this out, we had a couple of dream creators in our mind who happen to also be in line with kind of what we were wanting to create as a platform. Maybe Anastasis, do you want to chat about maybe more specifically? But I think really it boils down to we got lucky and they're legends. They've worked with us, and it's hard to say no to great people.
Yeah, I think we were just blessed to have this project. Obviously, Terra is also very heavily involved with Async as well, so we work together. Maelstrom, we know him from the past. We've worked with him in the past, but then I don't exactly know. I think David, you spoke with Lisa, but it was just a blessing to have you as well. And the same goes for Halik Mol as well, who is also working on a project that's going to be super cool. It's actually going to be an album. It's kind of an album, so you're gonna have a lot of modular songs that are one blueprint. So yeah, we're just very lucky. I agree with Multi here.
Awesome, and all people that we're mostly familiar with and or are following. If they haven't been on Whale, if you haven't, please give me a shout out afterwards. You guys are all incredible artists. Would love to have a conversation just with you to talk about your art. Thank you so much for spending time. I know I went a little bit over, but I get excited when I talk about audio NFTs. So really appreciate you guys spending the time. And before we wrap up, Terra, you had sent me some additional sound samples as well. Didn't know if you wanted to let those out of the bag or let them simmer in the kitchen a little bit.
Let's let it. I feel like we gave a good sample, and if people want more, we're gonna be letting some more out on social media soon. So let's leave them wanting more. I'm always a fan of that.
All right, you guys got a snack. You want the meal. You got to stay tuned and come to the restaurant. Reserve your seat at the table. There's a allow list to allow you guys to do that. We actually had a request to go back to that track that I had played for everybody from the prototypes I was sent. Did you say that was from Maelstrom?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So we'll take everyone out with that. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing the launch.
Thanks, Nightmare.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks everyone for hanging with us.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
a good
Thanks,
one.
everyone.
Everyone
next
watching,
time.
stay tuned. We'll take you out with that amazing song again.